So this is my first live in Saipan. So I actually don't really know how the quality is and if it's gonna stop up and all that. And I can't get enough of workout or not. Maybe I should do it sideways. Let's see how I do this. Device back. Why is it locked? Well, I guess I could just do it like this for now. But anyhow, so yeah, I'm just gonna use this as a way of recording the video, right on the time that I am making the video, which saves me the time to upload and all the rest of that nonsense, right? So here I'm walking through owns the current list. That is some beautiful sweet fruit. It's sometimes called the brown sugar fruit, also known as zapadilla, right? Zapadilla. But in Mexico, I always saw this as chico, or I always heard it being described as chico. Bunch of column. Yeah, it seems like my connection is not best, but we'll try it. Yeah, I can remake this video if I have to. What I wanted to get into today was the fact that, when I work, right, I am tired of working for a system. I'm tired of working for time, because there's this idea that if you spend your time working for the system, you'll amass something, gain something, and with that gain you can go do something great, right? And I get that, and I respect that. And again, I do think, when we do have to use time. But also, I work outside of time, right? That my time is not just worth for money, for an exchange of this piece of paper that we attribute value to. So again, I think it's very important not to see money as quote-unquote bad or good, but also it's very important to realize that money isn't everything. That just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you will be happy or that you will be sad. So I think it's best we live lives like we would. I think Alan Watts actually said this. I think it's best if we live our life as if money doesn't exist, is what I'm getting to. And so that's why I feel that my work is being done through an unregistered charity. Meaning, because I am trying to do my work entirely private, entirely with those that wish to keep my work private, I look at myself as a charity that cannot be registered. Now, because what comes with registration, as you folks might know, Regi means king, right? You're reporting to the king. You're basically reporting to the king of the Romans and telling the Romans what you are doing. And then after you tell the Romans what you are doing, then you basically have to pay a tax. Because, for some reason, you have to use the mediums that are involved with the Romans. So for instance, legal tender, right? So in money. So that's why my work cannot be quantified in money, right? If I heal someone and then they don't have money, it shouldn't matter, right? Actually, I want to heal people that don't have money probably more than the people that do have money, because the people who have a lot of money, it's not really that hard for them to heal because they have access to good fruit, for example, right? So that's why I think I have to make a distinction, between registration and no registration. For instance, it's a paradox because I've registered my car. I don't know the way to yet do the whole sovereign way of doing the car, and somehow and not paying, insurance and all that kind of stuff. However, uh, I'm still open to that, and I have registered a car. So there is a distinction there, right? So I'm not completely demonizing registration altogether. I'm just saying use it when you have to and don't use it when you do not. And again, so my life's work, my life's purpose, my mission should be more on the side that, that which is not text, that which is not registered, that which is not signed away. So basically, what I'm saying here is my work, or the work of someone who is working outside of time, cannot register his work because he's working almost entirely out of time. He's working out of time, but in it at the same time. And so that's why registration is such a folly when it comes to this kind of work, the work of an unregistered charity, because living itself becomes service, whether it's service to self, whether it's service to others. It's this all one service, you see? And because it's all one service, and because one does not care about a registration or making an identification or leaving a trace, there doesn't need to be, again, registration, right? So although my name, Eugene, the strawman, has been registered, you see? Although, there are some, what do you call it? How do you say, compliances or ways of saying that, or ways of handling the strawman and controlling the strawman. There is some form of registration that's okay. Perhaps it's okay to register a car so that the state can distinguish whose car is whose car. You see what I'm saying? Because it would be a shit show if we had no way to distinguish whose car is whose car. Obviously, if you were on a small island like on Saipan, then you would know everybody. So everyone would know whose car is whose car, so you don't need government as much. So that's another interesting way to look at things there too. Hey Tanya, what's up? Miss you too. Yeah, so if I were to continue, unregistered charities, I think that's where I am at. I think that's where a lot of people are at. Like, for instance, people who are really making riffs in whatever this matrix is, So let's take a break from what I'm talking about, huh? We got some jackfruit here. Jackfruit tree, again, on this established fruit kind of haven. Not that many fruit here, but enough to please a few people. And so, again, this right here is a land that can be a combination of both business, and not, right? Because that's the big catch. If everything is business, if everything is just work, then it's not really life. It's just busyness. It's just noise. So how can there be a business that's not business at all, right? How can there be a living where if money comes, money comes, but if money doesn't come, you're still authentic? It's not just about business, is what I'm trying to get at. And so that's what I think we need to start to embody, is to be able to always be, how do you say, conducting your highest level of business without, trying to be busy at all, if that makes sense. Without trying to fall into the business at all. So yeah. So again, unregistered charity. I want that to sink in, because again, my work is beyond any kind of writing down, any kind of recording, because writing down and recording implies the past. My work is not tied down to the past. You see? Again, that's why registration is so meaningless in many ways. And because of that, my work cannot be put down on paper. My work is beyond what is put down on paper, what is put down on contract. That's why, again, I must conduct, my charity, which has no correlation with business altogether. Again, that doesn't mean I don't take money. That means if money comes, money comes. But if money doesn't come, I still need to be who I am. This is why there needs to be, again, an unregistration, a registration that is not, because I'm not identifying as anything. I'm just, vibrating. It's not something I'm doing, it's just something that is. And at the same time, there must be, some act of service. Because again, so if you're not serving, how can you serve yourself? If you cannot serve yourself, how can you serve another? So we're just going around in circles here again, right? Because really, we should be serving all the time. We should be self-serving all the time. But then if it's only self-serving, you see, that's selfish. But if it's self-serving, that's not exaggerated, more or less, just exactly what you need, and at the same time, serving other, because other is self, right? Then it's not a selfish act. So in the same sense, conducting charity, conducting service, right? Constantly serving others. That is my life, because I serve myself. So if you treat yourself right, you will treat others right, or adequately, without exaggeration. And then without exaggeration means authentically, which means you're not being pretentious. A lot of people are pretentious because they can't get straight to the point. They're always avoiding something, right? So, again, the work of an unregistered charity is of non-avoidance. There is no avoiding anything. I don't avoid tax because I don't have anything to be taxed. My work is untaxable. My work is beyond money. However, we do take donations, and we prefer donations to come beforehand because, like, if one has agreed to say that I do have the amount for the donation. If one does not, that's another story. But if one does, then it's even better to have some kind of a confirmation of a donation before, because the work of a unregistered charity, right, is is constant, right? And at the same time, so because it's constant, it doesn't always look for the donation. So it's very glad and appreciative if the donation comes first. So I'm not telling you guys to donate, although you guys are welcome, but I'm just saying, if there's a lighthouse in Saipan and there's an operation here healing thousands of people, hundreds of people, okay, that's a little bit of exaggeration. Let's start with 10, but there's a lot of space here. 6 hectares is 21, or is 6 families, so that's at least 21 people. There could even be 21 people families. So, yeah. I lost my train of thought there, whoops. But anyhow, I think you guys get the point. I think I might end my live here soon. But again, I think a lot of us are already unregistered charities. We didn't register anything. We're not doing this to make a record. Although, again, I'm not totally bashing the record. I'm not totally bashing time. Time has its purpose. Time has its reason. Perhaps reason is time. And so I'm not saying, business is bad. I'm not saying making sure you work or you get what you are deserved for your time is a bad thing. However, again, some work cannot just sit around waiting to be compensated for. Some work is beyond compensation altogether, because some work cannot be compensated for. And this is the thing. So, unconditional love can't be compensated for. It's not about compensation. It's about no conditions at all. So if there's no conditions, there is no tax, there is no contract, all is void and null. And at the same time, if you try to put a contract on me, it is completely duress. It is under complete coercion. I am not giving any consent to contract with anybody, to contract any viruses or parasites or bad logic or bad words, bad logos with anybody. I'll keep the private contracts to myself, you know? And because I will also maintain doing everything in private, on the private side, and not publicly go to the government for registration and for help, I will do it alone. And I will do it alone with many people. Again, that's all one. So all together, we will be alone and we will be one. So that's all I have to say today. Keep up the good work, everybody, if you are doing good work, But I'm no one to quantify if your work is good or not. So I'll see you guys, huh?